All right, hunters, the devs of Call of the Wild just did a massive Q&A, and they dropped some really interesting stuff. We're talking everything from endangered species and crossplay to Africa 2.0, whether grinding actually ruins the game, and even how many more years Call of the Wild has left. Today, we're breaking down all of these questions and more, and the answers straight from the devs themselves. Now, I would love to know how long you have been playing. Let me know in the comments, and let's dive right in. So the devs of the Hunter Call of the Wild did an official Q&A yesterday, and they answered a pile of really good questions, and I was actually shocked by a lot of the answers. I think you guys are going to find this really fascinating. So let's start off by talking about the new game feeders that are coming on October the 21st. And our first question is, how many feeders can be placed on one map? And the answer is you'll be able to place 8 in total per reserve in any combination. So there are 3 different feeders. We have the box feeder, the post feeder, and the bait barrel. And we will be able to put a combination of the 3 for a total of 8. It isn't 8 of each kind, it's 8 in total per map. So that is good to know. And then our next question is, what range do the feeders have? Like, in what range get the animals attracted, it says. So it says howdy. So it is a 2-part process. First, the animals need to discover the game feeder and remember that there's something tasty there. They can do this by passing within roughly 400 meters of a placed feeder that's loaded with food that they like. When it comes to feeding time, if they've noticed the feeder and remembered it, then they'll head to that game feeder instead of their usual food need zone. Because this relies on the animal's memory, there's no real range limit here. They'll travel back from afar for the good stuff. So basically, it sounds like we're going to get some of the animals from need zones, but definitely not all of them. It's going to rely on the animals' memories. So it's going to be very interesting to see how many animals actually show up to these feeders and from how far they actually travel. It's really hard to know how it's going to work in game until we actually get our hands on the DLC and play with it, which is going to happen very soon, October the 21st. The next question is, once a feeder is placed, can you move it? And it reads, you'll be able to dismantle it and place it somewhere else again, just like our other deployables. Be mindful though, as you'll lose the bait that's currently loaded when you do. So basically, you want to use up the bait in the feeder before you move it, or you are going to miss out because we are going to have to pay in-game dollars to fill those feeders. I have absolutely no idea how much, but we will learn that when we do get our hands on the DLC. Oh, I actually stand corrected. Will it cost the hunter in-game to fill the feeders, and how often will this have to happen? Or will you just place them and they will automatically be ready to use? And the answer is, you'll need to use credits or in-game dollars to purchase feed after placing down a game feeder. The price will depend on the feed type you're loading in. For the box feeder and bait barrel feeder, the feed supply will deplete as animals visit, so it'll vary on where you place it and what animals are visiting. The post feeder slowly dispenses feed over time and should last for a couple of in-game days. So I'm sure after using the feeders for a little while, we'll get a much better sense of what it will cost in-game. We didn't get any details there, but it is definitely going to cost some in-game cash, so if you don't have a lot, time to grind for some cash before the DLC comes out. Moving on to our last feeder question, will the feeders work on snow leopards? The game feeder pack focuses mainly on herbivore species, so you'll be able to attract things like deer, elk, moose, antelope, hogs, and so on. But of course, the ever opportunistic bear species will be attracted too, so make sure you're prepared. So it isn't going to work on snow leopards, mainly herbivores, and of course bears. And our next topic is a juicier one. Do you feel that Great One grinding ruins the game? And here's the answer. The Hunter Call of the Wild is a complicated simulation where many different mechanics can interact to create different gameplay experiences. We welcome players to engage with the game in whatever way they find enjoyable. If we find situations where gameplay systems can be affected in ways which are undesirable, we can make adjustments to try and change the experience, as we did when we changed how quickly Bengal tigers appeared on Sundar Patan. So the devs are not against grinding, according to this question. And I actually love the answer, and it is the correct answer. They welcome anyone who wants to play this game in any way that they enjoy. When you purchase this game, it's your game. You can play it any way that you want. Even if you want to mod it, that's totally up to you. All I ask is that you don't mod a multiplayer server. If you want to mod to your heart's content on your own single player map, have at it. It's your game. Play it any way that you want. I'm totally cool with that. Our next topic is on endangered species. Why add tigers to the game when they are illegal to hunt? And does this mean you will be able to hunt more illegal animals in the future? So this is answered by Kim, who is a game director. It's been a few years since the last time we openly talked about this, and while at this point I might not have a straight yes or no answer for you, I'd like to give you more context behind our recent decision making around adding animals, including endangered ones, to the game. We start with very careful researching the locations when we start working on a new reserve. Included in that research is a selection of the animals that best fit the expectations for the local reserve and what species could realistically live in that region. We also consider what animals could migrate into the region IRL. It is important for us to provide an authentic experience, and with that, we need to balance the roster variety. Because of this, we might include animals that could be found in real-world wildlife reserves, even if some of them are officially classified as endangered. The animals that are included in the roster for a reserve are usually also legal to hunt in real life, but that might not always be the case. So basically what I got from that is they want it to be realistic and they want to meet our expectations. They want the players to be happy with the reserve, and so that could mean wanting polar bears on a map. They are endangered. I love what they did with tigers and snow leopards in Sundar Patan, so maybe they will continue to do things like that with endangered species when they do add them to maps. So endangered species are on the table, I do believe. But how do you feel about them adding endangered species to the game? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear how you feel about this. Can we get a hint for the new map and great one? Hints? Sure. Our next update will be adding game feeders as recently announced, and there will almost certainly be a new great one skulking around for you to pursue. Are they saying we're getting a great one with the next update? It kind of sounds that way, but I don't want to say that that is what is happening if it's not true. But it definitely sounds that way. Wouldn't that be amazing? I hope it is true. But as long as we get a great one by the end of the year, I will be very happy. I would love 2. We got 2 last year. I know I'm being greedy. I tend to be that way when it comes to great ones. And our next topic is large animals. And here's the question. I've heard that the reason elephants, rhinos, and hippos haven't been added is because they are too hard for the engine. What exactly makes these animals difficult to add to Call of the Wild? And the answer is the large animals are in themselves not harder to make than smaller animals. They are, however, much harder to fit into the trophy lodge with the current designs, and we will need to remaster the lodges to fit them in. That sounds amazing. Yes, please. So that was from Kim, game director, and then Matt, lead principal QA engineer, says, it may also be worth pointing out that animals are one of the things which we put a lot of time and energy into creating the highest fidelity experience in terms of appearance, movement, and behaviors. The game has a vast library of over 100 different species, which allows us to more rapidly develop animals which are similar to existing species. Whenever we do completely new types of animals, like the beavers for Alberta, it's a significant investment of time and effort to ensure we get it right. So basically what they're saying is that creating brand new species takes a lot of time, but the main problem is that the animals will not fit in the trophy lodge right now, so they need to make new lodges. So I hope that is something that they are working on, because we need new lodges so badly, and I will be so excited when that comes to the game. I'm sure it will. The question is when. Now, here is a burning question. Is Africa 2.0 near? I've heard a lot about Africa 2.0 being left until the last map in Call of the Wild, and I wanted to ask if this was true or not. First of all, I wanted to make it abundantly clear that we have no plans for a last map. Yay! I love to hear that. We are in for the long run. We are in for the long run. Secondly, why should we stop at a 2.0 map? And I'm not only talking about the African continent here. I am keen on making reserves that are distinct and different on all continents, including Africa. So it sounds like EW has big plans for Call of the Wild, and I love how they are thinking. This is very exciting. Finally, we want every reserve to be at the highest possible quality. We want to deliver the best possible experience, the animal roster that is expected, and the gameplay to support it. We plan reserves to deliver on that, so we have the technology in place. I am personally excited about plans for the future and look forward to revealing more as we progress. So they're not going to tell us when Africa 2.0 is coming, but I do think it is coming, and it sounds like lots more exciting maps are coming in the future. So that is so amazing to hear. And the next topic is crossplay/save. Is crossplay between console and PC going to be available? We know it's a very popular ask, but unfortunately we have nothing to announce at the moment. But that doesn't mean it's never going to happen. They didn't say never. They just said not right now. So we will have to continue to wait. Will the red deer have new Great One furs and racks this update? And the answer is the base red deer model rework is not coming in the next update. Please look forward to it before the end of the year though. Did you notice that they kind of ignored the question about the furs for the Great One red deer? I would think, now this is just my opinion, but I would think that if they were not going to give it to us, they would tell us so that we don't get excited for something that isn't coming. That's the way they operate. That's what I've noticed from different releases. They told us immediately that we were not getting polar bears so that we wouldn't be disappointed when a ski ridge came out. So I don't know this, but I think that red deer great ones are going to get updated. I hope so anyway. We're going to have to wait and see. And I would imagine that that will happen in December of this year when the new map comes out. Does this mean the next map is going to have red deer on it? Probably, but hard to say. How many more years do you think Call of the Wild has, and will there ever be a Call of the Wild 2, or where the game is made on a different engine? And the answer is thanks, good question. We are here for the long run. We have many years ahead of us and absolutely no plans of a last map. That is an amazing answer. Love it. That makes me super excited for the future of Call of the Wild. Now, they didn't answer the question about being on a new engine. If they are here for the long haul, they're going to have to get onto a new engine, I would think. So I think that is something that will come in the future. I think it would be a huge job. But if they're here for the long haul, I think that's something that's going to happen. How do devs decide which map to add next? That is a really good question. We have a long process of going through a very long list of options across the world map. We try to look at where we have the best option to diversify from previous reserves and definitely listen to you all. We do want to make sure we can deliver at high quality and keep our cadence of releasing maps. In other words, we approach the question from multiple angles and make sure we keep delivering maps that add to the game experience. And we are always keen on listening to you all in the process. How do you guys decide what animals get a great one? Or is it by player request or whatever looks cool? Player requests always play a role in our decisions. We love hearing from you all and do listen to you. Other than that, we want great ones to be in the new reserves and try to balance how many different reserves you will find them in and what other animals we have in the great one list. They do take considerable time to create, so we want to make sure we carefully select the right animals. Please make sure to share your ideas with us so we can support your experiences the best way possible. And the moose will receive new furs, but they are not getting reset. That was in there. So if you're doing a moose grind, you do not have to worry. Moose are not getting reset. Those are the most burning questions from the Q&A. And if you did enjoy this video, definitely splat that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more videos just like this. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And I'm going to recommend that you click right here to learn all about the new Game Feeders DLC.